Hello my pinky pals and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new here. My name is Alicia. Today we are going to be looking at Procreate tips and tricks that you can try to help make your art experience a little easier, I guess. It's definitely, it helps. So starting off, tip number one is less about creating art and more about what to do with it once it's done or in the process of being done. And that is to create stacks in Procreate to kind of sort out your graphics. So I have a draw this in your own style for 2024. I have like work in progress, things like that. The next tip, what you're going to want to do is to create your own default canvas. So I like to use 4000 by 4000 pixels and then a 600 dpi. Since I do a lot of products, my printing needs to be good. Tip number 3 is bookmark your brush size. So when you have that perfect size of brush and you don't want to lose it, all you need to do is touch it and hit the little plus sign. It is literally a game changer. Love that. Love that one for me. Tip number 4 are hand gestures. So you can do a myriad of different hand gestures. You can pinch and spread your fingers apart, your thumb and forefinger apart, in order to make your image bigger or smaller. You can tap with 2 fingers to undo, tap with 3 to redo. You can take 3 fingers and just move them back and forth on your canvas, and that will get rid of anything that's on that layer. There are a myriad of hand gestures. Tip number 5 is the perfect circle. So draw your circle any way you like, hold that pencil down, and then using 1 finger touch your Procreate screen. You will create the perfect circle. That also works with squares, triangles, all kinds of things. Tip number 6 is selection tools. So there are a myriad of different things that you can use for this. There is there's like the free selection, which just kind of allows you to go anywhere you like. There is the uniform, which is just, it stays the same. No matter how big it is, the dimensions don't change. I use warp a lot to create the faces of my characters, whether they're animals or people. Another thing that you can use when sketching, I would say, definitely not whenever you're creating the end product, and that is Liquify. I choose the push option most of the time, and you can just kind of make small changes or big changes. I don't use this very often. I think a lot of people really love it. I don't like that I don't have a lot of control over it. And that could just be my own, being unable to use the tool properly, maybe. I don't know. But I don't really care for it. Tip number 8 is adding a picture. So all you need to do that would be to click on your little wrench, choose add, and then insert a photo. This is great if you are like me and you like to sketch on paper and then you need to create another drawing and you want to sketch on top of it. Tip number 9 is 2 sketch layers. So I like to create 2 different sketch layers because I will generally sketch in my sketchbook, take a picture of it, upload that into Procreate, and then instead of just going straight into a line art, I will do sketching. And one thing I keep forgetting to do most of the time is also making sure that you mirror your image so that it looks nice and balanced no matter which way it shows. Tip number 10 is alpha lock. So this is something that you do basically with your layers. You would click on the layer and then choose alpha lock, and that means once that is done, nothing can be drawn extra. Everything that's going to be colored or changed is going to be what's already there, so you can recolor things really easily with alpha lock. Tip 11 is smooth lines. So there's a couple of ways that you can do this. One is just practice. It just takes some practice. But 2 is you can go into your brush, and if you just click on it, it'll take you right into the studio. Choose stabilization, and then the stabilization amount, you can kind of play with that a little bit until you get the desired effect. The other thing you can do is create an arc, and then just hold the pencil, and the Procreate program will come up with the little, arc, so that you can edit that way. Tip 12 is the reference layer. So if you're creating line art, this works especially for people who create thick line art that does not taper off into nothing or is completely closed off, especially. If you click on the layer that has the line art, choose reference, then you can pretty much just flood fill below that. You don't have to worry about, coloring in with the lines and all that stuff. It'll take care of it for you. But again, your line art has to be perfectly closed for that to work. Tip 13 is the clipping mask. So what I do a lot of the times is I will just color in the whole area that I want to color, the whole character, what have you, and then I will create a new layer, turn that layer into what is called a clipping mask, and then no matter where you paint on that layer, it's only going to essentially clip to the layer below, and it'll only show over top of that layer. Tip 14 is multiply. Especially if you are having issues choosing colors and shades and things like that, it's a great way to put shadow into your art without having to worry too much about the color. It just kind of works in most cases. Sometimes you have to lower the opacity, but for the most part, if you do a new layer, put it to multiply, then you can just use the same color you already did your base color with, and it'll be a nice darker shade for you. Tip 15 is the harmonious. If you don't know about multiply, or you're not sure about multiply, or you just want similar colors, what you can do is choose the color wheel, and instead of going to your palettes like you normally would, what you can do instead is choose the harmony wheel. So then no matter where you click, it will give you two options that are harmonious. So if you're ever wondering what color goes with what, it will tell you. Tip 16 is the symmetry. So in order to get that, you're going to go into the canvas drawing guide. So click on your wrench, choose canvas, and then you're going to choose drawing guide. You're going to turn it on so it's blue. Then choose edit drawing guide. For most things I use symmetry, I believe. So there is other things like isometric is a fun one as well. I've created isometric rooms using it. It's great. But generally I use isometric. And you could use vertical, horizontal, quadrant, or radial. And then they have rotational symmetry and assisted drawing as well. I always go for the radial whenever I'm doing my mandalas, for example. Comes in really handy, especially if you're doing like portraits, straight on portraits, things like that. Tip 17 is sketch layer above your color. So whenever I color anything, I always put the sketch layer on top, because I find when I'm sketching, I will put little details on there that I don't think about later on. So if I have that, then I know that I won't miss the cheeks and things like that. So I put the sketch layer above the color layer so I don't miss any of those details. Tip 18 is isolate your layers. So when you have your layers open, if you want to see just what is on this one particular layer, put your finger on the checkbox and hold it, and all of the other layers will go away. Only the one layer that you clicked on will show. The eyedrop tool is essentially you're just going to hover over whatever color it is that you want, press down on your canvas, and it will tell you the color, so you can just pick it up. And the last tip is very cliche, but it is just practice. There's no real way to become really good with art that isn't just practice. Every single day, it's just kind of one of those things. It's an art or a skill, just like anything else. So once you've gotten your practice in there, it'll come. It'll definitely all come, especially the things like the smoother lines. I, at the same time, edit my videos to an extent. I'm not great at it, I know that, but you don't see every line. You don't see every struggle. You don't see every time I've had to delete a layer or redo a line or just scrap a whole thing. I've done that multiple times. Just this one alone, I actually stopped it twice. So, you don't see any of that. All you're going to see is the best of the best that gets shown to social media. So just keep that in mind. We didn't all start great, and we all still have something to learn. So just keep that in mind, and don't forget to practice. I mean, tip 21, but it's not really a tip, it's just to have fun, because it's art and it's supposed to be fun. And those are all of my Procreate tips, guys. I hope that you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!